fun to react to the complete history of Ireland as it is presented on a channel called Suibhne. I don't know this channel, but I'm interested to see and how they've contextualized everything and how they've summed it all up. I mean, it's a very complicated history of the country, so I'm curious. Also, I like things explained to me with cartoons, so there's that. Before I get into the video, do be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, all those things. Otherwise, the next time you go to your kitchen utensil drawer, you'll find that one of your utensils is jamming the door shut. You won't be able to get it open, and that's so annoying and inconvenient. And if you want to avoid that Irish curse, be sure to subscribe, like, comment, share, all of those things. And thank you to the person who submitted that for an Irish curse. Okay, here we go. Ooh, I can already see the animation is amazing.
Hopping across the English Channel, we return once again to the British Isles, this time to Ireland, land of fairies and folktales, Christians and pagans, beer and whiskey, and a somewhat troublesome history that propelled the Irish to the world stage in the 1960s. But going back further, the tale gets pretty interesting, and that's certainly not a bias on our part. Welcome everyone to the Emerald Isle.
In case you're wondering why I talk over these videos, by the way, it's to avoid copyright strikes. I do replay them over and over, bits of them, so yeah.
Ireland as we know it today is a single island entity and has been united for almost its entirety. This only changed in the 20th century when it became split between two nations, Ireland the country and the United Kingdom. Most of the Emerald Isle's modern citizens did not live before the split, which is why there still tends to be some bitterness about it on both sides.
Yes, definitely.
But leaving that aside for the moment, we can begin in 300 BC.
Okay, that's
the first
pretty far back.
inhabitants were our good friends the Celts, who migrated from the European continent after the last Ice Age. These Celts flourished in culture and traditions all upon the foundations of their pagan faith. Irish myth and folklore is deep intertwined
Go
into
see the
Irish
Book of Kells if
poetry
you come
and
to
even
Ireland,
their
it's
later
amazing.
Christian beliefs.
Although that doesn't mean it's easy to find. Hi, Talebot here from the channel Tale Foundry.
Hi, hello.
Unfortunately, a lot of ancient Irish traditions have been lost to time and inattention. The stories we do have records of are really cool. Men who become
There's a lot of
gods,
old
intricate
Irish
pseudo-histories, an odd abundance of shape-shifting salmon, but it's hard to know whether they're legitimate because the majority of them were recorded by Christian scribes rather than their pagan
That's an
adherents.
interesting comment.
On our show, we recently took a shot at
A lot of them are
unraveling
myths.
the
We don't
Irish
know if they
mythological
actually
cycle
happened.
and the mystery of why it isn't more popular. So, once you're done learning about Ireland's actual history, feel free to come discuss its pseudo-history with us.
Thanks for the contribution, Tale Foundry. The Celts of Ireland called their land Eire after their matron goddess Eiru. They spoke a language called Gaeilge, or what we call Irish. One Irish tribe, the Scotti, is thought to have been the namesake of Scotland. Once again, English misappropriation defies the boundaries of cultural sensitivities. Christianity made its way to Ireland from Rome and Britain, largely aided by the Bishop St. Patrick, who managed to convert the Irish from paganism to Catholicism when he wasn't busy chasing snakes.
Which was
Ireland was raided and settled by the Vikings in the 8th century, setting up small towns that became cities like Dublin and Belfast. But the Vikings were fought off and replaced by the Normans, who arrived in 1167, creating what would be the Lordship of Ireland. Norman Ireland failed to control the entire island though, and many lords and kings existed in tandem with the Norman possessions.
This is true.
By the 1400s, Norman holdings were limited, aided greatly by the War of the Roses and the Black Plague, which killed far more Normans than Irish.
The War of the
This
Roses
changed with
was a
King
big
Henry
deal,
VIII,
yes.
who took a break from cutting up wives and churches to conquer the various Irish
He
kingdoms.
did.
He established the Kingdom of Ireland, which expanded after defeating the Irish in the Desmond Rebellions and the 9 Years' War. In 1604, Ireland was united fully under English rule, and James I of the Scottish House of Stuart became the King of England, uniting all three kingdoms under one monarch. The British, however, were Protestants, and the Catholics of Ireland felt resentment having a Protestant as their ruler, and rebellions were frequent. To gain better control, English monarchs confiscated land from the lords and farmers and replaced them with Protestant English and Scots.
Big deal, big
The British
deal.
hoped that settling Protestants in the area would help quell rebellions by having a population with a distinct British national identity. This worked most successfully in Ulster, where some counties formed majorities of Presbyterians. During the War of the Three Kingdoms, Ireland staged rebellions from British rule, but were defeated by both Oliver Cromwell and later William of Orange shortly after the Glorious Revolution. At this point, the British said enough was enough and united the kingdoms into a single country, in order to better control rebellions. The Union was still heavily prejudiced against Catholics though, and this coupled with the Great Potato Famine caused millions to die and millions more to immigrate. most notably for Liverpool and the Americas. The economic hardship and poverty created the Home Rule movement, in which the Irish citizens demanded their own parliament, with the notable exception of Protestant counties in the north, who were pro-unionist and supported British rule. This surprised entirely no one, since most of these counties were descendants of the British colonists, who had confiscated the Irish lands a century earlier. Home Rule stalled during World War I, leading some Republicans to stage a rebellion known as the Easter Rising. The British attempted to grant Home Rule by splitting the island into two self-governing territories, Northern and Southern Ireland,
and now we have all
both
the
of whom were
trouble
still
with
part of the
Brexit.
United Kingdom. Fighting continued, however, and the Irish Civil War ensued, with some supporting membership of the British Commonwealth as a free state, and others supporting a full republic. Although the Free State won the war, the Republicans did shortly get elected to Parliament, and Ireland became a full republic. The split of Ireland angered many Republicans on both sides, who saw it as a British ploy to gerrymander the northern counties to allow for a slight unionist majority and ultimately retain a claim on parts of the island. The anger also came to further intensify the religious divide, since most Catholics saw themselves as Irish and supported republicanism, and most Protestants were pro-union. The bitterness of the Irish Civil War was felt everywhere, and discrimination against Catholics was increasing in the north. Peaceful civil rights protests escalated just 1 decade after the war in a conflict known as the Troubles, which is something you've probably heard of. Various unionist and nationalist paramilitary groups were formed, and the fighting continued for decades.
That should be noted.
The conflict boiled down to the Good Friday Agreement, when Ireland and Northern Ireland agreed to exist in a state of tandem, and if the majority of Northern Irish citizens voted to rejoin Ireland, the governments would allow this to happen. The agreement also affirmed the free movement of people through the border and made allowances for any Northern Irish born in Northern Ireland to attain Irish citizenship if they desire. This largely brought the conflict to an uneasy peace.
Tiny bit of
Ireland joined the European Union in 1973, along with the UK and Denmark.
Crossover, though,
Ireland became very prosperous, and economic growth became a large
is.
source of immigration. They replaced the old Irish pound with the euro in 1999. The island's prosperity was halted in the 2008 global financial crisis.
All the rich people got
reduced
poor.
Ireland's wealth. Many on both sides of the border have toyed around with the idea of reunification, and some have compared the situation to the division of East and West Germany. Resistance to unification is said to be waning somewhat, even though some are still fiercely opposed. The discomfort of the division once again came to a head with the vote of Britain to leave the EU, angering many who don't want to see a border erected between the two parts of the island. The slim majority of the Northern Irish voted to remain within the EU, bringing up a degree of resentment to the UK for forcibly removing them.
So currently there is no hard
border. Talks
border.
About the reunification of Ireland began immediately, and the idea has shown growing support, especially with the Scottish intention on holding
the Scottish really want to be independent.
Some view Irish unification as inevitable as older generations pass for an increasingly more liberal world, and yet others too are skeptical. I guess only time will tell.
Interesting. So this video was made in 2017, and since then, as I said, we have established no hard border between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, so you can free travel between the two. That's actually brought up. Hello, budgie. Hello. Are you interested in all this talk? That has brought up a lot of questions, obviously, with the whole pandemic situation as well, because it was like a case of can you freely travel into the north? There are different laws, different things going on, so that's been very problematic. A lot of people in the north and in the Republic, as well as Scotland, are fighting for independence right now, but there are also a lot of people who want to remain part of Britain. There's a lot of conflict there. The peace process is still going, but obviously with all the unprecedented things that have been going on, pressure has certainly increased between the two divisions. There has recently been a resurgence in violence, and we can only hope that that doesn't turn into what it used to be. This month I was struck by two very special shoutouts I got from some of the guys you'll be familiar with in comments if you spend a lot of time there, Brian Ediger and Jason Moir. I was really struck that both of them wanted to shout out everybody going back to school, because these two guys are from very different backgrounds and essentially they just want the same good things for everyone. Jason wants to shout out all the teachers who are preparing for the new school year, and he says hopefully it won't be as chaotic as it was last year for everyone. Brian wants to shout out the students, teachers, kids and adults, and he says it's still a time of uncertainty and people are arguing over what to do, but everyone should just keep learning, teaching and growing. He says best of luck. Thank you to Brian and Jason for always being a positive energy in this community. I think that was really well explained by the Suibhne channel. A couple of pronunciation issues, but you know, I can't pronounce all the Irish words either, so to be fair. And that's it for today. If you want to see the video in full without my yapping over it, go check it out in the description box below. I'll see you on the other side. Bye. I swear to God, I put on a ton of bronzer before I do these videos, and I'm still the palest person in the whole country. Like, this is me 2 shades darker than what I'm supposed to be. Ugh.